Here we are, March 14th, 2014, worldwide edition of Truth Radio Show with Dan Bidondi, and we're going to have a new time slot next week, folks. 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Again, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be starting at 7 o'clock Eastern p.m. And folks, we're getting a lot of good stuff going on here in Truth Radio. And this is the Truth Radio Show with Dan Bidondi. And I'm a little upset right now because, again, people attacking my Facebook, and part of the NSA shut my other one down about a month ago. Now, my other two ones, I may have to go log on. I attempted to log on about 5 minutes ago to send a notice for the show again, but, again, they're attacking the Facebooks because they don't like truth, because I'm not a little wimp, I'm not a little sheep. I like to hammer the source. I mean, if Homeland Security is doing something wrong, I'll go to Homeland Security's site and boldly say who I am and boldly tell them what the hell they're doing wrong. And it shows you, folks, they are attacking free speech. I mean, we right on the show last week, we talked about how they're attacking gun issues. They're going to, on Facebook, the Fedbook, I should call it, they are classifying anything with guns as pornography on Facebook. And that's all I post is guns, 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 Second Amendment, Second Amendment, Second Amendment. And again, they shut my Facebooks down. So people, they will be back up hopefully at the end of the night here. It's just, it's frustrating, it really is. And this happens at least once a month. And it's not just one Facebook. They'll go attack all of them. And it has to be something big, because my Infowars Dan Bidondi one, they completely shut that down. I can't get it back at all. I lost a lot of good friends on that. And my Dan Bidondi one, my We Are Change one, and my regular family and friends one, they shut all three of them down just now. And this is disgusting. It's like an onslaught on the First Amendment. I mean, I'm having trouble all the time with YouTube. I have to dispute stupid little things. I mean, it just is ridiculous. And they're taking control of the internet, folks. And people need to stand up for the First Amendment, because this is getting sickening. And it just throws off my whole show here a little bit, because, it's just like you get a mindset what you got to do on the show. At the last minute something happens, and you're just like, oh. You know what I mean? But we're going to have two great guests on today. We told you last week we're going to bring in Dave Kopacz for Exposing Gender 21. We will have him 9:30 at the second hour here. And also before him, we're going to have my good friend Jon Bowne. He's a reporter and producer from Infowars.com. He'll be joining us at the next hour. And he's going to be discussing the latest news and all that's going on in Infowars and everything else. And folks, without saying political correctness, we have to be politically correct for them to accept us in the Facebook world, to accept us into the social media world. But you know what? We're not going to be politically correct. And they're not only attacking the First Amendment, but the Second Amendment. And we're going to get into that in just a bit. And we got the latest developments here in Rhode Island. We got several draconian bills being proposed by Joseph Almeida Jr., which I confronted. We haven't posted the video yet. I confronted him at his home, and we had about a 6-minute interview with him. And basically he said, with his own words, I don't expect these bills to pass. But why propose these draconian bills? And basically, if it's all said and done, by January of 2015, anyone that would own a magazine containing more than 10 rounds will land you 20 years or 15 years, whatever it is, in jail. And they're proposing taxes on the ammunition, restrictions on guns, certain guns you could have. They're tyrannical bills. And the hearing is this Tuesday. So anybody in the New England area, we need your help. Head out to the Rhode Island State House Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Show up in mass crowds, folks. We need all the supporters for the Second Amendment there. They're going to be hearing these bills in the House, and they're going to be hearing them to try to push these draconian bills into law. And we need many people as possible. We got the Rhode Island Oath Keepers coming, some of the Tea Parties. That's why I expressed some of them, because they're all politically correct people, most of them. But there are a lot of good patriots in the Tea Party. We got a lot of other big patriot groups coming to the State House. So we need your support. Again, 4 p.m. Eastern, this coming Tuesday. We need you, March 18th. And get there at 3, because we're going to have a lot of anti-gun people protesting there, like Mothers Against Guns and all these other liberal, trendy groups. You know what I mean? Oh, guns are bad. They're going to kill you. Guns are bad. It's just like when we're going to get into this in a little while. We're going to break that down. We got a lot of news to cover. We're going to talk about Flight 370. the Malaysia flight, and there's a lot of mysterious involvement in this. And we're gonna bring the Wolf Phil Davis on, and we're gonna talk about that in a little while. We're gonna break that down. What happened to this flight? But there's a big mystery going on, and we got a lot of news to cover, so you got to stop rambling here and actually get to the news. I do this every week, all the time I bring in stacks of news. I don't even touch half of it. And again, we got Jon Bowne coming on at 9, and right after Jon Bowne is Dave Kopacz, Agenda 21. But into the news, we're going to go right into the health issue right now, because, folks, we're talking about how they're spreading the propaganda. Get vaccinated. Get your vaccinations because they're safe for you. They help you against the flu, and they don't tell you how diabolical they are, how they actually have hundreds of derivatives in the flu shots. And it's right on the insert when you go to Walgreens. It says it contains dimersal. Dimersal is a mercury preservative that's hazardous for your body. And we're not going to get into all that right now because we talk about it all the time. We're going to zip through this news here. And you got NFL star Jay Cutler is now, according to Deadspin, he's saying that please vaccinate your children. Jay Cutler. And he's talking to everybody to say, hey, you need your kids vaccinated. He's a new spokesman model for this eugenics program, the vaccination in your kids. I mean, we had Bill Gates. We talk about this every week. Bill Gates openly admitting at the 2010 TED conference meeting that vaccinations are nothing more than to depopulate the world. And you think that's a conspiracy? We're going to bring up Agenda 21. That's right on the United Nations website. Go there right now. Agenda 21 automatically talks about using vaccinations for world depopulation. Diversity, Dave Kopacz is going to get into all of this when we have him on the show in about an hour and a half from now. But now you got hospital in prison, devoted spiritual author by claiming her prayers are a sign of mental illness. Again, attack on Christianity. This is from naturalnews.com. A devout 56-year-old woman was held captive in a psych ward for nearly 5 days after a strange series of events cascaded before her. Now, I read the article. Basically, she was doing a 15-day spiritual fast. Now, anybody who is into spirituality, no matter what religion it is, they have some kind of a fasting. Well, she was in her fasting. She was on the 15th day. She started feeling faint at a gas station, BP gas station, and they brought her to the emergency room. And basically, she started, when she came to it, she started reciting some prayers. And what does the doctor do? Oh, mental ward, bang, get her to the mental ward because she's talking to God. God forbid, you can't do that. Shh. You're only supposed to pray to your God, Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama, or the United Nations. That's your God. There ain't no God other than them people. The state is your God. Remember that. So if you preach anything else, you are going to the psycho ward. Disgusting, man. Now you got Colorado posing millions of dollars in marijuana tax revenue. Now, the thing is, I'm going to stay right out about this whole marijuana thing. And before we get into this article, this is from Forbes. But the thing is, I got tons of friends and everything that smoke marijuana. The thing is with me, what you do behind your own doors is your business. The government should have no involvement in this issue. If you want to smoke weed or drink, whatever, behind your own doors, God bless you. And if you want to grow on your own property, God bless you. But on the other hand, folks, we talked about the great dumbing down of society, folks, and this is going to probably strike a match on a lot of people's asses here when I say this. This is a huge dumbing down of society. And the reason why I'm saying this because they're promoting it. It's bad, 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 and makes you want it more. And I guarantee when it becomes legal again, everybody's going to, the fad's going to come down because it's not that, restricted thing to do. But the thing is, yes, medical marijuana helps people with pain and all that. But on the other case, I mean, you got some burnouts out there. The reason why it's called dope, because it turns you into a dope. Okay, if you're smoking this day in, day out, and if it's not for medical purposes, just smoking it just to get high, you are taking place in the dumbing down of society. The Bible warns us about this. They're using pharmakeia, about hallucinogens. But, you got all these new age religions that say, oh, smoke weed. Oh, take DMT. So take all these hallucinogenic drugs because they open your mind. No, they open your mind to demonic influence, weed included. You are susceptible to demonic influence when you smoke marijuana and DMT too. And, it's just... This is a dumbing down of society, folks. And if you want to do this behind your own closed doors, fine, do it. God bless you. I'm not judging anybody that does it. I don't care if you do it to get high every day and be a pothead, whatever. God bless you. But the thing is, this has fallen into the dumbing down of society. I've seen so many people I know are good patriots. They started getting to marijuana, and all of a sudden they can become lazier and lazier and lazier and lazier. And all they do is eat, and it helps your dick. No, it doesn't help your dick. You think it does, but it doesn't. And again, the Bible warns us about this. And we had so many warnings about the dumbing down of society, just like the Bitcoin. This is how the establishment infiltrates the truth movement. To say, don't smoke weed, but you got to do it anyway because it's our liberty to do it, but you're taking place in the dumbing down of society. Bitcoin, don't own Bitcoin, we're going to arrest you, but you're taking part of the cashless society. You're taking part either way, and this is why people in the patriot movement need to wake up to this stuff. And again, I don't judge if you smoke marijuana or whatever. I just want to state that, but again, don't keep smoking this because you're opening your mind to demonic influence. And I know there's a lot of you new agers out there, and I'm telling you right now, you think you're talking to cosmic beings or such, but you're not. You're talking to demonic spirits. That's all you're doing. And I know a lot of people into that crap, and that's what it is exactly, is crap. But we got to go to break, and we got to back up. We got autism. Autism and ADD are caused by fluoride in your drinking water. And we'll be right back on the Truth Radio Show with Dan Bidondi. And we got Colorado pulls in millions of dollars of marijuana tax revenue. And I sorry to go off the page here about this little rant. It's just like we're gonna get into that stuff, folks. We're gonna get deep into what marijuana and the DMT and all this popular drugs are doing to society. Again, if you smoke it, I don't judge you. God bless you. Do what you want behind closed doors. And but anyway, they say crime pays. Not exactly. You legalize a form of crime and tax it, and it really pays. And just as Colorado, perhaps not so awkwardly labeled the highest state, Colorado pulled in $2 million in taxes related to the sales of the recreational marijuana, and that's in January of 2014 alone. And again, it's a new fad, so everybody's going to be jumping on this. And anyway, it's from Forbes.com if you want to check out the article. And Harvard studies now, we talked about this in the past, how Harvard studies have proved that sodium fluoride, that's a fluoride in your drinking water and in your toothpaste, reduces IQ, especially with children. And ADA also confirmed that the dangers of fluoride water is bad for babies. This is all on record now. And you go to the CDC's website, they admit it, but it's still safe for you. Even though they admit the stuff is deadly, it's still safe for you. And now you got a new Harvard study now saying that fluoride can increase autism and ADD, known as attention deficit disorder. This is from the Washington blog. We reported last month that the Harvard study found that fluoride can lower children's IQ by 7 points, which is actually more than that. It's up to 15 to 20 points. And that the numerous government reports have shown that fluoride can injure the brain and neurological systems. And we talked about this before. Fluoride also causes fluorosis. It causes just eats your brain, basically, if you want to say it that way. It targets the bones because it builds up in the bones. No other mineral but fluoride builds up in the bones that much. And they say, it's all 1 parts per million, but it stores in the bones, okay? It attacks the neurological centers in your brains. And you got tons of people, especially Harvard University is now coming out to say fluoride is bad for you. Don't give it to your kids. The ADA had no choice to come out to say the same thing. Well, you need to read up more about this. Fluoride is deadly, folks. And back in grandfather's days, they used to use fluoride for rat poison. And it's all come out. It's on record now. I mean, it was part of the 1930s eugenics movement. Hitler and Stalin used to use high doses of fluoride in the drinking water to dumb the Jews down. And this is all part of the Agenda 21, which is today's eugenics. It's disgusting. It's all part of the biodiversity movements and everything else. And we're going to get into that with Dave Kopacz. And now you got China begins openly using drones to spray chemicals. And we talked about the chemtrails. And a lot of people, conspiracy. No, it's not a conspiracy because we have a bill, HR 2977. It was proposed in 2001, but it never passed, of course. It was to protect us from such things. Right in the bill, it says chemtrails. We got the patents from the United States government that shows the chemical tanks being put on the plane, the patents and everything for the chemicals. Halliburton came out and won it was Evergreen, I'm sorry. Evergreen won a contract by the Air Force to produce the chemicals for these chemtrails. Then when it all came out in USA Today, they try to say, it's to block radar, it's to block global warming. And they don't want to get to the fact, no, it's to reduce population, it's for weather manufacturing. They control the weather. And again, this is all in HR 2977, the Space and Preservation Act of 2001. And you got doctors forced to become state snitches to spot radical patients. And this is Paul Joseph Watson, Infowars reports. Doctors in Britain are being forced to become state snitches and spot radical patients, parents too, under the NHS initiative that threatens to cut funding if a GP practice fails to take part in the program. And we talked about this too, the spying. They want to turn everybody into a domestic spy. That's going on here in the United States too. Don't think your doctor, if you go to your doctor, I'm a pro-gun activist, blah, blah, blah. Don't think your doctor's not going to report you. I mean, look what's going on in the schools. Kid wears, which we're going to get into that in a little while. A kid got suspended, got kicked out of school for wearing an NRA T-shirt just that says support the Second Amendment. And they're setting up the snitches, folks. I mean, about a couple years ago, they were having the kids do essays in English. And, what'd you do during your summer? Kid, well, I went hunting with my father. Bam, they had the police and CPS banging the father's door down. Wondering if the guns are registered. Why are you teaching the kids how to hunt? God forbid you teach your kids about a gun. But, it's just a nanny state, it really is. And don't think that's not going to happen here with your doctors, folks, because I guarantee it's already happening. And now you got Obamacare. It's too expensive for you. Cancel your cable, peasant. This is from our great leader, Lord and Savior, Barry Soetoro. And I say that with the most sarcasm, of course. The Daily Caller says, once again, America, you really let King Barry down. And on March 6, 2014, President Obama conducted a town hall meeting with Spanish language media regarding the Affordable Health Care Act. It's not affordable at all, but anyway, also known as the Obamacare. He was asking about the concerns of many Latinos that the law is simply too expensive. He suggested that some families may be spending too much on cable TV or your cell phones and not enough on my health care insurance to line the pockets of us corrupt scum politicians. And it's disgusting, really is. And these people, they're not going to stop, folks. And, well, we're trying to make ways here in Rhode Island. We'll try to propose bills to annul Obamacare. I mean, I know some states have already done that, but I mean, it's disgusting. And we're going to, probably next segment too, we're going to get into the discussion with Flight 370 from Malaysia. But I just wanted to cover this news, and because I rambled too much here. Just want to get through at least a couple of stacks of these. And now you got schools in Texas halt student GPS tracking program. My buddy Don Salazar from Infowars reports about 1,000 students were tracked under Orwellian surveillance program. Schools in Texas, Austin, Texas, have declined to renew their contract for the controversial program, in which the students who had chronic attendance issues were monitored via GPS tracking units. And it was shot down, and we had great victory. I was down in Infowars working down there in 2012, and we worked with the Hernandez family, who stopped this thing cold dead in its tracks. They were put on GPS units on all the students in San Antonio. In fact, we're going to bring them on probably a week or two. I'll bring the Hernandez family on. Andrea, I think she's like a 10th grader now, 11th, but she was the only one, her and the father, stood up against us. They suffered threats, persecution, everything, and they're not a rich family. They had huge success. We won the battle. I mean, they won, I should say, because they were the pioneers behind us. They did not give up the fight, and San Antonio had to take the tracking chips away. And we're going to get into that story. We should bring on the Hernandez family. I'm going to write that down here because that's a great story, and it shows you resistance is victory. We're having great victories, but again, we're being onslaughted by tyranny again. So we got to keep up the resistance, folks. And now you got feminist control freaks want to ban the word bossy. And this is feminism. This is also from Paul Joseph Watson, Infowars. Feminism, I can't even say that word right, is a top-down tool for the establishment, which is used to promote cultural Marxism, create thought crimes, criminals, and police language. And this is crazy because they're, not only are they creating racism, we're going to get into that in a minute, It's just got so much stuff on my head. I just get ahead of myself. My mouth gets ahead of myself sometime. But anyway, they're going out to say, oh, yeah, we're going to promote the sexism because we're going to make the women higher than men. That's the Illuminati's plans in the first place. We're going to get to that sometime. And the woman, you don't need men. You don't need men for nothing. You know, you're the boss, not them, and it defies God's purpose. You know, it defies the will of God. That's why they're doing this for. And it's all started back in the 60s when, during the hippie movement and such, which started off as a good thing, then like anything else, it gets hijacked by evil elite who push their Kabbalah propaganda inside. They injected it in the hippie movement. And if you think the tie-dye, the peace sign and all that means peace, it does not. It's ancient Kabbalism. It means evoking the number of the beast. And it's sick stuff. And so the women's liberal movement, they did the same thing because it defied God. Yeah, it's just crazy stuff. And now you got, speaking of Illuminati God Queen sluts, Michelle Obama supports a campaign to ban sexist words. Now, taking a page out of George Orwell's 1984, where words were banned by the tolerant state to limit thought, Michelle Obama has thrown her weight behind a campaign to ban the word bossy. Now, this goes with the article we're just talking about, another Paul Joseph Watson article. And they want to take, in other words, if you call a woman bossy, it will be a hate crime. Even joking around, oh, don't be so bossy. Bam, a hate crime. Don't call that girl bossy because you'll be arrested. And you've seen George Orwell's 1984. I suggest everybody read that book or watch the movie because that's the blueprint of today's structural society. That's the blueprint of these elite. They love making movies. They love spreading out propaganda to the cartoons and everything else to rub it deliberately in our faces, but people don't take it seriously because it comes from a movie. But now you got a college group bans white people from diversity happy hour. Infowars reports a group of employees at South Puget Sound Community College caused outrage after they made it clear that white people would not be welcome as planned diversity happy hour event. And the event was focused around an effort to build support and community for the people of color. And I'm not going to read all this article, but I mean, what they're doing is the establishment, again, they're pointing stuff like this out because they want to promote racism. They want to promote sexism. They want a divided front. They don't want people coming together say, hey, the real people, the real evil is the people who hijacked our government, who are running the United Nations. Those are the real evil people. And now you got Rand Paul wins a 2014 CPAC straw poll. Ted Cruz finishes a distant second. And Washington Times reports this. Senator Rand Paul demolishes the competition in the 2014 Washington Times CPAC presidential preference straw poll on Saturday, winning 31% of the vote. And the thing is, folks, I don't trust any of these guys. I really don't. I don't support or trust any Republican or any Democrat running for president. I don't. And we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we got more news, and we're going to get into Flight 370. Then our guest, Obama NSA nominee defends mass surveillance of Americans. And when we come back, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to get into some news about World War III coming up with Russia. The whole world is going in chaos. Folks, we'll be right back. And Obama is now defending the mass surveillance of Americans, and he quotes, I believe that we need to maintain an ability to make queries of phone records. So I believe we have the right to completely annihilate the Fourth Amendment because we say so. We're God, we're the kings, we say what you do. You do what we say. And this is Steve Watson report from Infowars. The president's reforms of the NSA continue apace as his pick to become the new head of the agency today defended mass spying on Americans and saying it is necessary to prevent terrorist attacks. And let me ask you something, okay? Anybody out there who's pro-NSA, pro-TSA, name one terrorist attack has the TSA, the NSA, or any of these alphabet goon agencies prevented. Name one. And now let's name probably hundreds of incidents when terrorist attacks, shootings, all this stuff, bombings, when the FBI, the NSA, the TSA all had their hands in the mix. And it all come out that they gave the terrorists the weapons. They funded them. Oh, but we're not supposed to talk about that. We're all Fast and Furious. We're not supposed to talk about how the ATF gave the Mexican drug cartels the drugs and the money and the weapons. We're not supposed to talk about that, though. But, it's for your good, for your safety that we keep NSA spying on you. And, these people need to be abolished. American people should rise up. And I say go to the NSA headquarters, anybody who lives over there, organize hundreds, if not thousands of people, take video cameras, because these scum hate being videotaped. There's signs all over the fences. Videotape them. Videotape them every time they leave, follow them around, give them a taste of their own medicine. And you got Obama supporting. I mean, this is unreal. And now yet another trade of suicide rocks financial world. Paul Joseph Watson reports the financial world has been rocked again by the news of yet another suicide after 47-year-old Manhattan trader Edmund Riley jumped in front of a Long Island Railroad commuter train on Tuesday morning. And this is a number of suicides in the last couple of months we've been seeing by these bankers. And the thing is, what's going on? That's the question we want to know. Is it time to push out these old devils and put new devils in? Are these guys under mind control? There's a lot of questions and the answers here. And now you got the NSA pretends to be Facebook to spy on the world. This is reported by Infowars. Malware can record audio and take photos of web users without their knowledge. And we've been reporting on this for God knows how long, and it's all coming out, and now we're not the conspiracy theorists no more. And the latest Snowden leaks on the NSA reveal that the spy agency is masquerading as Facebook in order to infect millions of computers around the world with malware as part of its mass surveillance program. That's why we call Facebook Fedbook. I mean, look, they're constantly shutting me down because when I report truth and show positive sources, they shut me down. And next segment, we're going to get into the whole Flight 370 with the Malaysia thing. This is wild-eyed crazy stuff. I mean, how could a 777 disappear like that? It's crazy. But then we got Alex and Annie, the store. They now roll out Swirl's Bluetooth beacons at 40 stores. And what it is like basically it's a network they track you inside the store. And they send you coupons and everything else to your phone. But the thing is, it's a tracking service. And who's to say they're not tracking you outside the store? We know that happens. Look at the schools that have the trackers on the IDs. Oh, we just track them in the school, that's all. And it's been reported, yeah, we do track them at home. We spy on them with their laptops. That came out. And now you got TSA agents to eyeball bus passengers during security exercise. And Infowars reports a bus rider interrogated during similar drill in 2012, illustrating again how the federal agency has long since expanded its operations outside the airports. Bus travelers in Pittsburgh will be eyeballed by TSA agents during security exercises, quote-unquote, involving multiple agencies that begins today. And we already have them down here in downtown Providence. I confronted them myself, and they won't answer you. We're just looking for a threat assessment. What's a threat assessment? Well, we can't answer that. Well, you better damn well answer that because I'm paying your taxes, scumbag. And the Freedom of Information Act document, Homeland Security monitors the Drudge Report. And we know they're monitoring Infowars.com. will monitor our stuff. They monitor everything because they hate patriot groups that reveal what they're doing. I mean, we got the documents, folks, right from the National Archives, Homeland Security's endgame. Anybody could type that up, go to the National Archives, or PDF the file off of Google. And all the stuff are targeting patriot groups, gun owners, activists, is all in that document, folks. And there's tons and tons of other documents that accompany that. And this document here, a newly obtained document released under the Freedom of Information Act, confirms that the Department of Homeland Scum keeps tabs on the Drudge Report as part of its media monitoring program. And that's why they're pushing the FCC to go voluntarily into media groups to say, oh, we just want to monitor what you're doing. And, of course, they're going to be filtering the stuff through the FCC and such. And it's, again, attack on civil liberties, folks. I mean, it doesn't stop. I mean, if it's not the guns, it's the First Amendment. It's ridiculous. And without the Second Amendment, folks, you don't have none of the rest. And, again, another document by Homeland Security to say, hey, we're monitoring all networks that ain't corporate buyouts like Fox, CNN, ABC, and so on. And this is just crazy stuff. And And speaking of crazy stuff, man, like again, I want to touch on the gun stuff before we go to the next segment. Again, I still got tons of articles here I didn't even touch on, but again, the gun stuff, folks, they are attacking us big time. And again, anybody in the New England area, come join us next Tuesday, 3 p.m. at the State House in Rhode Island. It's on Smith Street in Providence, Rhode Island. Again, 3 p.m. Eastern. We need you down there. They're proposing several bills to take your firearms. And there's a list of a number of these bills, and I don't have time to get through them all, but it's from Joseph Almeida. He's one of the representatives here in Rhode Island. He's a Providence representative proposing yet another draconian bill. And Gordon Fox, that slimy little Nazi weasel, last year proposed these similar bills, but not as bad as these. And they got shot down thanks to the efforts of myself, the Oath Keepers, and all the Patriot groups that showed up in the State House at the press conference and says, hell no, you're not taking our guns. And I told them, I'm going to tell them again next Tuesday, if you take our guns, prepare for war. There's going to be massive bloodshed, and nobody wants this. Nobody wants bloodshed, but you know what? You come after our Second Amendment, there's going to be bloodshed. Bottom line, with the lines are drawn, politically correctness, you kiss my ass with, okay? The lines are drawn, okay? There's this side here is the spirit of 1776, the spirit of liberty, freedom, God, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and all the patriots here. And the other side is you New World Order scum who think they're going to take our guns. Well, you know, you're not. Because just like thousands, tens of thousands of people in Connecticut that are resisting your draconian laws, we're going to resist the same damn laws if they're pushed and play. Because we are not turning our guns. I got guns with over 10 rounds in my ammo clips, but you're not getting them. I don't care what law you pass, you're not getting them. And now you get the damn bullets first. And if I sound extreme, what the hell you think our founding fathers are going to do? If they came alive tomorrow, there'll be a shooting war with the government, and by the end of the week, there'll be 99% politicians in Washington and in all these states here hanging at the end of a rope. The time for political correctness is done. So like I said last week to the Patriot groups out there, grow some balls, okay? And I'm not saying to go out and be violent and extreme, no. But you know what? If they come to take our guns, you defend your Second Amendment at any cost. Because when they take our guns, folks, you could kiss the Constitution goodbye. And I don't know, thousands of quotes by the Founding Fathers, thousands of them, that talk about how important the Second Amendment, how important citizens having guns are. How important is it? You know, it's just, it really pisses me off, it really does. And now you got the United Nations again attacks the Second Amendment. Critics of the Second Amendment routinely ignore data showing guns saves lives and prevent violence. Well, there's tons of data. The FBI themselves admit, yes, states with little to no gun control have the best and lowest murder and crime rates. But, you know, you got Illinois, you got New York and Connecticut who pride themselves on the best gun control in the country, but yet have the highest crime and murder rates with guns. Go figure, because the citizens can't protect themselves. And then when I asked Joe Almeida, how does this protect the citizen? How does taking guns from honest citizens protect them from these criminals? And how does it take the firearms away from these criminals? It doesn't. It just gives criminals more power. And if you think 911's got to help you, oh, hold on, sir, before you rape me and my family and kill us, okay? Let me call down 911 for us, and like Senator Dianne Feinstein instead. Oh, if he realizes that everybody else is unarmed, he's going to lay down his gun and turn himself in. You know, this is the mental psychology of these liberals. You know, they're going to turn themselves in because they have no guns. You know, what kind of lunatics are you people? You know, they call us the tinfoil hat wearers. And they got a high school student suspended for wearing an NRA T-shirt. And I think the NRA should right now give out free T-shirts to every student across the country and make a stand. You have all your parents out there who support the Second Amendment. Give your kids and their friends NRA T-shirts. Make a stand. And Michael Dallin, a good friend of mine from Infowars, a great reporter and journalist, a high school student in Grand Island, New York, received a one-day in-school suspension this week after refusing to turn his National Rifle Association T-shirt inside out. Shane Kinley, a 16-year-old sophomore at Grand Island High School, was confronted Tuesday after a teacher claimed that his shirt was inappropriate, violation of the school's dress code. But what you're doing, lady, it's a violation of the Second Amendment. It's a violation of his First Amendment. But, you know, the school dress code, because you're not supporting Barack Obama and the United Nations scum. And Wayne Kinley, the father, told KWGRZ TV. It's the same shirt he's worn before, but this time they said there's something about it. Well, because they don't want you to promote the Second Amendment, how important it is. And you got march 10 times larger than SXSW anti-gun event. Kit Daniels reports on that, and we got to move through this quick here. Connecticut cop, I will kick down doors to confiscate guns, and this is a big controversy going on, and I guess according to the Blaze, the Connecticut cop is under investigation for the stunning Facebook comment he gave to a gun owner. But Michael Dallin reported that his words straight out were, I cannot wait to kick the door. I cannot wait to get the order to kick your door in. He was some Connecticut cops telling an activist this. You know what, scumbag, come kick my door in. All right, you get my gun with my bullets first. Like I told that corrupt scum down in Providence, one of the Capitol Police there. Oh, your house will be the first I come. So you're not bringing on, scumbag. Because you know what? Our Constitution supersedes your laws. It supersedes your authority, scumbag. And again, you got to start a revolution and you got to start a war. You will not win. I'm telling you right now. You want to push these draconian gun laws, Joseph Media? You got Gordon Fox and all these other scum. You got to start a war. You will not win. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to tell you to faces right in the General Assembly too. We're going to go to a break and we're going to get back and we're going to talk about me and Phil Davis. We're going to talk about the whole mysterious missing of Flight 370, the Malaysian flight. This is crazy stuff. But folks, support the Second Amendment now. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Truth Radio with Dan Bidondi on 990WBOB.com.
We are under attack, folks. Second Amendment, First Amendment, so on. And next week we're going to have Susan Price on. She's a good friend of Charles Strange, who we had on a few weeks ago about the Navy SEAL team and these military people disappearing, getting killed from our own government, and they had the documents and everything else. And Susan Price is going to be joining us next week, and we're probably going to have Charles Strange on with her. I'm not sure yet. We're still in the talks, but she's definitely coming on. And after the segment, we're going to have Infowars.com reporter and producer Jon Bowne. And I still didn't touch half this news, but we just got to move on. And we got Phil Davis here. He's got to join me in a discussion about this Flight 370. And this is crazy stuff. This flight from Malaysia, 777 disappears. I'm a pilot myself. We have a thing in the black box and also in the plane called the ELT. It's Emergency Locating Transmitter that could even penetrate through the ocean. And the satellites can't find it. What do you think, Phil?
Well, there's been a lot of talk about the transponders, as you were just talking about. They learned that they were shut off, and the plane dropped below radar range, so it couldn't be picked up. But what happens is the engines that are on this plane are monitored by Rolls-Royce because they built the engines on it, and it's got its own web thing to transmit, how the engines are going, if they're in a stress or anything like that, it automatically picks it up. Now, they said that
so it's like a live, real-time activity report of what's going on with the engines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And every plane that they have like that has these. Okay, and that's how they're tracking that plane. But they're not talking about it at all because they believe that plane was hijacked, which they're not saying it was. But it was obvious it was hijacked by the pilots itself, not the two people that they accused. One was a 19-year-old kid who had a fake passport, and the person that was with him was a lady. And at first they tried to accuse them of. I'm
surprised they didn't say they had box cutters like 9/11. This is unreal, man. And again, like they were showing the satellite images, how they could pinpoint, from all different countries, how they find small little aircraft in the ocean, but they can't find a gigantic 777. There's more to this than meets the eye. And
it is because every country in the world is trying to find this plane. There's never been a worry of a jet this size, anywhere. In other words, they know it's going to be used for some kind of purpose, some kind of attack on somewhere. it's obvious that's what's going to end up happening. That's why they hijacked it.
Well, look at all the headlines. I mean, this is a few of billions of headlines. SAHTFPplan.com, E-bomb, the electronic weapon that can make a plane disappear. And, there's a lot of theories on that. And you got Natural News saying disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 begins to demand supernatural explanations. There's a lot of people coming out of the coast to coast that you've been listening to.
Yeah,
and I
George
listened
Norrie,
to George Norrie, and a lot of people say it could be aliens, UFOs, or whatever. I mean, like, there's 1,000 things that's going through people's heads. And you got UK Daily Mail says, was a missing hijacked plane. U.S. officials fear that MH370 was captured and flown to a mysterious location. And Washington Blog says, what happened to the Flight 370? An analysis of what is known. And it shows a little graph there of their projected flight plan. Now, the flight plan, you told me that the plane actually turned around last known?
Yes, and it flew over the Malaysian islands at a very, very low, which you can, because if anybody knows anything about Malaysia, okay, they don't have any high buildings or anything like that, tall mountain peaks. So they went, it was recorded by people, calling in and asking why this big jet, because, most of them don't even see a plane that size coming over real low. But they said they turned the plane around, and it was heading off towards the Middle East, towards Beirut, Lebanon there. So
just saying now, for instance, that this was terrorists actually hijacked this plane and took it. Now, what's the possibilities that could happen from, just say they got it in Beirut, what do you think what could happen?
To be honest, I think that they're going to put a nuclear device on this and bomb some country with it. That's what I think.
Well, yeah, take a page out.
I'm not the only one.
Northwoods.
Everybody on Coast to Coast was saying the same thing. That was calling in. They're saying, are they going to use it for, to drop a nuclear bomb? And I'm beginning to think the same thing. They know where that plane is.
Yeah.
Our government knows where that plane is. They ain't telling me no different.
And rest assured, well, I say rest assured, but be assured, I should say, the NSA, CIA has some involvement in this. I guarantee that. I mean, I wouldn't put it past it. I mean, and again, like you said, every plot that goes on, a big plot like this, one of our federal scum agencies have some kind of involvement with this. And I guarantee the U.S. government has some involvement. They're going to bomb somebody,
absolutely.
Blame it on somebody.
Why do you think Russia is up in arms and everything else about it?
Well,
and they said they pulled wreckage out of the ocean. Okay, the wreckage they pulled out of the ocean didn't even match anything that was like a jet. Look, never mind anything else. They said they found a floating door. The door was too small to be on a jet liner, for one thing.
Yeah, just like they pulled the wreckage from a perfectly untouched passport to hit the World Trade Center. Now, the whole plane exploded with fuel and everything. Body, nothing was found, but unmolested plastic passport fell to the ground. This is unreal stuff. And, I mean, like, what's the possibilities? I mean, like, they could paint it as a Delta airline or whatever.
Well, the thing of it is what really concerns me is never before in the history of aviation planes lost or crashed has got every country up in arms about it. So that automatically tells me there's something wrong with this.
Yeah, and I mean, this is crazy stuff. And I mean, like, just to say, I mean, like, this, I heard all the things from UFOs to the Bermuda Triangle
UFOs.
Stuff, all that stuff. And yeah, I mean, like, this is just unreal, and it's grabbing the headlines of all the news and everything. And again, people wondering where the hell this plane is. Most of all, where are the people?
Exactly.
And are these people real?
They're wondering. People are wondering if there was something on that plane that shouldn't have been on that plane,
or someone. I mean, there's a lot of speculation.
It had to be more than someone. It was something on that plane. There was something bad on that plane. And
something very significant that they would hijack a 777.
Yeah.
And
especially the pilots to do it.
Yeah.
Because they said it would take a pilot to dismantle the transponders on a jet. They said an average person wouldn't know even where to find it, never mind dismantle it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And now this is going to be the headline news for a while now. Today, actually pinpoint what's going on, and now you got the independent media like us, Infowars, and everything that tells the truth. And if Russia Today or some BBC or whoever comes out, and the mainstream media has no choice but to recognize the truth. They can whitewash it as long as possible, but while this alternative media rising up, they ain't gonna be able to keep the truth down too long.
Well, with the whole problem about this is now that the emergency transponders are going on that, okay, they can't track this plane. So this plane could take off from anywhere and bomb any city in any country and all over the world. Okay, they can't track it. It's untrackable now.
All right, well, we'll come back next week and we'll have more discussion on this because I'm sure more information is going to surface. But before we go to break, we're going to have, after the break, we have Jon Bowne from Infowars.com, good friend of mine. He's like a brother. He's going to be joining us soon. And before we go to the break, I want to read the quote of the week, I should say, by President Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1961 in his farewell address. He stated, "In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic process. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry, that's us people, can propel mission of the huge industrial and military machine of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together." And that's prophetic. I mean, that's exactly what's going on here today. People now waking up, and you can see the military-industrial complex. They're hell-bent on pushing their propaganda war machine. But we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to have Infowars.com reporter and producer Jon Bowne. We'll be right back. Folks, we are live in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Again, it's March 14, 2014 edition of the Truth Radio Show with Dan Bidondi on 990WBOB.com. And while we're waiting for Jon Bowne to call in, folks, I mean, again, what I was saying in the last hour, I mean, we are in big trouble, folks, unless people wake up. We need more people to wake up. And again, the Second Amendment is the backbone of liberty. And just imagine, if you will, just like upside down pyramid, so to speak. It's being held up by a thing called the Second Amendment. And once you kick out that Second Amendment pole, the whole thing comes shattering down. That's all your civil liberties, everything, all destroyed. And that's how important the Second Amendment is. And that quote of the week was from Jon Bowne. It was from Dwight D. Eisenhower. One of the, I guess he was a good president. I didn't know too much about him. He was a 5-star general and everything else. And but it shows him, JFK, and these people warning us, our founding fathers warning us of this misplaced power, about the military-industrial complex, about secret societies, about evil. I mean, like thousands, not hundreds, thousands of quotes over and over and over again, how important the guns are, how important our liberties are, how important that we should take heed to these warnings, that which is going on today. And I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed sometimes. And when I first started getting to radio years ago, this is kind of bad, knowing all this stuff and reading all this news, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. But the light side of the whole thing, I'm not fear-mongering here. The light side of it is people are waking up. I mean, we went through a dry spell with people just dumb as a doornail. I mean, most still are, unfortunately, and it's not their fault. It's because of the chemicals, the drugging down of society, and the TV, the propaganda. I mean, just into you. I mean, like, that's why people are just out of it today, and people need to wake up. And I wanted before John comes on, I want to talk about World War III, basically. U.S. Russian headlong into war with Russia. And this is from Creighton Nimmo. Corporate media plays its part by disseminating war propaganda. And we're on the verge of World War III. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We're on the verge of World War III. And, it's just like, then John Kerry is dead set on going into Russia, going to war against Russia. And you got John Kerry also is trying to propose that whole peace deal with Israel and the Palestinians and everything. And I wanted to get into that too, but we didn't have time. And basically they're trying to make a peace deal with Israel. And this is all over the world. This stuff is going on. And I want you people to take note at the Passover in April coming up. On the Passover, there's going to be a blood moon. Now, the next 3 blood moons, it's not a coincidence either that each of these blood moons, these astrological events, all fall on the Jewish holiday. Now, anybody who knows the Bible knows that, yes, Israel is God's time clock. And we got a guest on the phone. We're going to talk about that next week. But Infowars.com reporter and producer, good friend of mine, Jon Bowne. How you doing, sir?
Hey, live. Am I there?
Yep, you're there, brother. How you doing?
All right. Good. How are you doing up there in Rhode Island?
Cold. Missed the Texas weather.
Yeah, it was a very nice day today, but it's going to rain tomorrow. But, yeah, I know it's pretty cold up there.
Yeah. So what's going down at your end?
Well, I guess the biggest story of the day is this massive undertaking going on between the United States government and Russia, and it's all playing out in the Ukraine and Crimea. The latest is from AFP Wire. Says Russia intercepted a U.S. drone over Crimea, and a United States surveillance drone has been intercepted above the Ukrainian region of Crimea. The drone was flying at about 4,000 meters and was virtually invisible from the ground. It was possible to break the link with U.S. operators with complex radio electronic technology. So they basically took this drone down and walked away with it, but you know, in this modern day age, it won't be the shot heard around the world. It'll probably be the drone taser technology heard around the world, but it's starting to get a little more tense here between Russia and the United States. You've got John Kerry, who's basically created an ultimatum for Monday, pushing one of the biggest world powers other than China, you know, the chip on the American shoulder is huge. The hubris, the arrogance, it knows no bounds. And just a couple of days ago, it might have actually been yesterday, Obama signed an executive order to basically take all of the assets of anybody that criticizes his attack on the Russian take on the Ukrainian and Crimean escalation. So basically, Obama has signed an executive order saying that if you criticize, whether it's your show, Dan, or Alex Jones or Fox News, if you criticize what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, he now has the power to show up, back a U-Haul up, and take everything you own.
Well, I don't know much. So, Obama, I'm criticizing your whole war propaganda because you're a bunch of Nazi thugs. And that was reported by, I forgot the guy's name, whatever, but he even said that this whole thing is a bunch of, it's just Nazi takeover. That's all it is. But, I mean, like, I'm criticizing you, Obama. Come take, I don't have barely nothing, so take what you want.
Yeah. Come and take it. Molan Labe there, Obama. Yeah.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I don't have much to take either, so good luck with that.
Oh, is Dr.
And
Ben
goes
Carson.
for the rest of the country. I mean, but that's what he's going to do. That's what Obama scare is. You know, he's going to take everything we own. So now he's, people. What is it? 1 out of 10 people have signed up for Obamacare. Or paid online. I mean, he's scaring the entire country into this deal. We all know. We've all heard the horror stories. Even people that are well-to-do are frightened of this thing. People that their health care is doubled. They've lost the savings plans that go with the HSA plans that go with the health care. That's no longer a part of Obamacare, whether you get bronze, silver, or gold. It's an Olympics from hell is what it sounds like. But, so now he's signed an order saying that he's going to come and take anything from the media that criticizes him. Can anyone say impeachment? I mean, it's just getting out of control.
And what happened to the First Amendment? That's a direct First Amendment violation.
He doesn't give a rat's patootie about the First Amendment. In fact, the only thing that he cares about the First Amendment is that he gets rid of it. Obama he's not beholden to. He plays the whole race card. We had a excellent pastor on today, C.L. Bryant, who did a film in 2012. I recommend anybody has Netflix. It's free on Netflix. It's called Runaway Slave, and he basically, there's a little bit of history we need to go back and look at because of Obama, and that history is because he keeps playing this race card thing. And I grew up in a generation. You grew up in a generation. As the generations continue to go, where the racism is dying, but they use the racism as this divide and conquer scheme. And so what happened is Alex had this brilliant, one of these light bulb moments and said, look, we got to do a report on this. And I didn't even know all of it. And he basically, I walked up to him with a mic. He spits it all out in between breaks of the show. I record it all, and I go back and do a report per Alex of this history that he basically told me in less than a minute. Alex Jones.
Yeah.
And what it comes in, when I went to do the research, I was just dumbfounded by what I found. And it goes back to Thomas Jefferson, who did own slaves. He was part of the Democratic Republican Party, which was kind of it was the name given to that party because they were similar to the French Revolution Party that was behind the French Revolution. So it was kind of a nickname that Hamilton gave to that party. Of course, it split off into the later Democrats and Republicans, but it's Thomas Jefferson there at the beginning. He was trying to get the importation of slaves to stop. So he's the first guy to say no more importation of slaves. It actually didn't get into the first Constitution. They watered it down and got it out of there. And then he, I believe it was 1808, he gets that passed. And then further on down the road, it's a Republican, Lincoln, who, of course, signs the Emancipation Proclamation. And, I'm not saying the Republicans, and I'm not backing the Republicans at all. The whole two-party paradigm is a mess, and an evil mess at that. But what we're saying here is, here's this Democratic Party that is now the party of the black vote, and no one knows the true history of it. And the reality of it is, when you get to the end of what I found, is that, and I'll go back to what I found, but is that now knowing where the Democratic Party comes from, I don't see how any black person, and myself included, I'm not black, but I abhor racism. I want nothing to ever do with the Democratic Party after finding out what I found out. In fact, I think the Democratic Party should be abolished for forever. We should restart a whole new party or completely reboot the Democratic Party. So basically, the Republicans, Lincoln signs the Emancipation Proclamation, frees the slaves. The slaves at that point have a higher and more successful marriage rate, believe it or not, than white people. They are strong, family-minded people. Even under everything they're going through, they have a stronger family bond than even the white people at the time. All right, so as we move forward, we get to Kennedy, and then we get to LBJ, and now we're here in the civil rights era. And if we back up just a few years to 1957, there's the Little Rock Nine, and they're trying to get into a desegregated school, and they're going in there, and of course the governor is saying they can't go in there because he's a racist punk. So who gets them in there with the military? The Republican President Eisenhower gets them in there. And then so that's the first stand for civil rights, and then we move forward. Kennedy has something to do with getting MLK out of jail. Now, Kennedy's a Democrat, and so now the Democrats are starting to get involved in the civil rights movement. Now, we get to Kennedy's murdered, right? And so we get to LBJ, who signs the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Act, and he had been the one who had been blocking all of the Civil Rights Acts. But here he was signing it, and basically in what Alex called a jujitsu, a political jujitsu move, takes the black vote from then on. And the black vote goes to the Democrats. And that's also what C.L. Bryant's been trying to show everybody and how they've been duped. And so the black vote goes to the Democrats, but behind closed doors, LBJ makes, and you can go online and look him up. I don't want to repeat what LBJ said. It was incredibly racist, but he basically said behind closed doors, and it was recorded on audio, he said that he's going to control those N-word, plural, for the next 200 years.
Unbelievable.
The president said that. And so from then on, the Democratic Party now controls the black vote. Now let's go back. Let's turn around and go backwards in our time machine here to the Klan. Okay? When the Civil War ended, the Klan began. And the Klan had backed up the Democratic Party from then on. And so all those lynchings, all the burnings, all the bombings later in Birmingham, all the horrific things that happened were from the Klan, and they were basically the militant arm of the Democratic Party. Well, I know that sounds far-fetched.
Well, the Klan was established by Albert Pike, who's well admired and basically worshipped in Washington D.C. General Albert Pike.
Yeah, I looked into Albert Pike, and of course, you know, he's regardless of how evil a human being he turns out to be, he was also somewhat removed there in the beginning from the Klan's involvement with the Democratic Party. So he does begin he gets the ball rolling, definitely, and has those. I mean, he even said he declared all 3 world wars. If you go online and look at Albert Pike,
that's correct.
He explains how World War I is going to start. He explains World War II, and then he explains World War III. And he's hitting the nail on the head every time. So it looks like a gigantic plan, but you move further into what happens with the Klan as they're a Masonic organization. They get involved deeply with the Democratic Party, and you know they're there saying, you know, there was one town that I used in the piece that I did where in Louisiana they basically just killed a bunch of people, stacked the bodies in the street, set people on fire, and then the people that remained, they forced them to vote Democratic, and then they had a slip proving that they had voted Democratic. So if me, you know, I don't want to tell anybody else how to think, but I'm telling you, just coming from Washington, D.C., and not really understanding racism until later in life, I don't want anything to do with the Democratic Party. I think it should be abolished. I think it should be the crimes that they committed, they should be responsible for. We talk about the Nazi Party all the time, and then we talk, you know, just kind of lollygag around the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, when the history books are written, is going to be equal to the Nazi Party for what they did to the black people in this country.
Well, absolutely.
I mean,
look at Dr. Ben Carson recently stating on Breitbart News, talk about our government is like Nazi Germany, stating, which is, I mean, I share that opinion because that's why I call these people a bunch of Nazis. I call it how it is, and these people are pure Nazis.
They are. I mean, the Nazis came over here, Operation Paperclip, you know, and that's the thing is, like, people hear us talking about it. Of course, everybody wants to go on and just kind of forget about the world going on, and the fact that Russia and the U.S. we got an ultimatum on Monday here for World War III. But, you know, you get back down, if you want to wake yourself up, you want to be able to see what's really going on, who the politicians that are in control are connected to, where it all came from, why there's been fluoride in the water for 69 years, you know, where our space program came from, where the divide and conquer scheme of the Democratic Party comes from, where it all comes from. Operation Paperclip. They bring the Nazi geniuses over here and give them all jobs and all of our money, all our taxpayer dollars, and they just continue to do their eugenics programs here. And they've been doing them ever since. And it's been a soft kill ever since because the hard kill was too much. That's what World War II was. That's what happened in the Holocaust. They've been doing a soft kill to us. And the sad part is you start to find out about these things. You find out, you realize that fluoride and how harmful fluoride truly is to your...
Well, look at the newest article. Harvard says now, we know about the IQ reduction, but they're saying now it's a cause of autism and ADD.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And bone cancer, too. And, you know, and the thing is, before they started taking the hydrofluorosilicic acid from the phosphate factories and basically watering it down as the gases rose. You can go and research that on your own. But the hydrofluorosilicic acid is a poison that they put into a canister, and then they ship it off. And back in the Carnegie Mellon Institute, back in the 40s, designated that we could have 1 parts per million in our drinking supply. How about no parts per million of poison in our drinking supply? How's that sound? Why do we got to bow down to the to those industries? But on the other hand, we get back to the Nazi problem. That's what they did to the water, people. That's what they did, and that's what Stalin did. That's what Adolf Hitler did. They put fluoride in the water, and they've been doing that to us for 69 years. And people go, "Oh well, you know, I'm fine." Are you? Because the nephew of Albert Einstein said, and he was a chemist, a famous chemist, Bronner. He said that not only is it treason that they're putting this in the water, but anybody that drinks fluoride for a year of their life will never be the same person again. They've robbed every single American in this country. And it's bad here. In Europe, they don't put it in the water. Most of Western Europe, they don't put it in the water. But in the U.S., we're like stupid, idiotic guinea pigs. And they've just been putting it in our water for 69 years. I'm not the person I was supposed to be. You're not the person you're supposed to be. The people listening to this aren't the people they were supposed to be. We've been robbed. We've been robbed of our thyroid and the way it's supposed to work, of our pineal gland, our third eye. We've been robbed of our humanity for 69 years in this country. I didn't even have a chance. It was well in the water before I was born.
Same here. I mean, like, and you can see all the stats. I mean, look at the staggering rates. I mean, now they're in the toothpaste and everything else, and the decline. Look, the education system. Every year, America's dropping on IQs on the education system. Just a complete dumbing down of society, man. I mean, like.
Well, and then you know that also brings me back to what C.L. Bryant was talking about today is that you see a lot of black youth. So you go back to the fact that the black families were strong families, and they were actually the success of the marriage rate before the Margaret Sanger thing comes along and the Obamacare programs and the Obama phone and welfare and all that just drags people, and then put in black 43% of prison population is black when the actual population of black folks in this country is like, what, 12% or something. It doesn't make any sense. So here now, one of the things in Runaway Slave, if you check it out, one of the points that they make is that in modern times, the black children, black males, are now raised somewhere close to 90% are raised by a single mother. There's no father in the home.
Wow.
And so they've decimated an entire culture.
Well, look at the abortion rates in New York. I mean, a big percentage is all black. I mean, like, it's disgusting. I mean, these poor kids, and you know, the families are ripping them apart, and with CPS and the DHS, and I mean,
and we're all next. We're all next. Yep. They tried it out. They killed the Native Americans. Yep. Right. They killed them. You know, Andrew Jackson's policy on the Native Americans, and of course the Founding Fathers. You know, but you know, there are very few Native Americans left, and these were great, humble, proud people that we all look up to now, even though we basically committed a worse genocide, or as equal a genocide as what happened in Nazi Europe. We did the same thing. In fact, Adolf Hitler said that he got the idea from us, what we did to Native Americans. So we decimated them. We did that to them.
Wasn't it Berkeley University in California, I believe? That's where it came from, the whole eugenics plot?
Yeah, yep.
And which today is known as Agenda 21.
The Margaret Sanger Planned Parenthood thing, that's more inundated into the black community, because then she gets a hold of she behind closed doors says that it's a plan. She's telling the head of Procter and Gamble this, that I believe it's in a letter. She says the plan is to exterminate the black race, but we won't tell them that. And now you got Hillary Clinton out there saying that Margaret Sanger is equal to Thomas Jefferson. This is a woman that is responsible for killing, after her policies were put into place, millions of black babies.
And how many photographs does she have proudly displaying the diamond or the all-CNI with the hands? I mean, this Illuminati queen.
I'm sure they're all occultic. And you're up there near Connecticut. We spoke with the superintendent, the former. He was a police officer, former police officer, but he basically a FEMA director. He basically oversees the operations after one of these shootings happens, and he's gone into Sandy Hook, and he has these 16 points of all the mistakes they made and how obvious it was. But let me just get back to the.
I'm supposed to have him on next week, I believe.
Oh, are you? Good, yeah. And we're supposed to come up there when he actually brings them all to trial.
Oh, good.
Because, they're threatening his life, saying, you better. The FBI is threatening his life, apparently, saying that you better stop. You better stop asking questions, and he can't stop asking questions. He's an American, and he's a grandfather, and none of this makes sense. And why is this happening? So, I look forward to hearing that interview.
Yeah, it's great. And
but then we've got the Boston Marathon coming up again too, and I think from what I heard, you may be on tap to go down to that one again.
Yeah, I'm ready for that. I mean, the Connecticut too. I'm like right in Winnabe is Connecticut. We're right in the middle of Connecticut and Boston. So I mean, I definitely plan on hitting the Boston Marathon this year. And there's a lot of stuff going on, and then all these false flags are happening right here in my own hometown area. You know what I mean? And false flag it gets more real when it happens in your area. That's when.
Sure.
Then when I did the report about the whole Navy Yard shooter, that was right here in Rhode Island. I was at the hotels and the places that he was at, and it just gets more real when you're actually at the places where these things are going on. And
that's what Halberger was saying today. He said, I want everybody out there to imagine that your 6-year-old is at that school and is going through this, because none of it made any sense. There, just all the 16 points. The police show up. They push this one girl back into the crime scene. 6-year-old girl. They say, go back in the room. Like, how? Why would you? And then they bring the kids back to the crime scene, and then they're more interested in bringing porta potties so that everyone can relieve themselves and make sure they order lunch, than making sure that they get everybody there immediately to get these kids out of there. It was like the whole thing was just a mess, completely staged. Then you had Anderson Cooper in front of the green screen. He wasn't even there. He was in front of a green screen. And then all the talking points. Like, how did he get all this information so quickly about these people? All this detailed information. I'm sure that one can be easily disproved in your mind, but when you're doing media gathering, you don't have all that information. But the real kicker is the fact that Bloomberg had already set up a website 2 days before the shooting for donations.
Unbelievable.
So there you go. I mean, pull that one into a court of law and let's see who cracks. Let's see how many people commit perjury till somebody cracks.
Yeah, and I can't wait to hear from him, Wolfgang Halbig. I think he's coming in next week. We haven't confirmed the date, but he's definitely interested in coming on. And I like to go down to Sandy Hook myself. It's not really far. It's about an hour and a half away from me. And I want to go down there because a lot of people down there. I like to question the neighbors if they actually knew half these people that supposedly got killed. I mean, was this a staged crisis act? I mean, we know some people did die, but, it's just crazy. It's so many mysteries behind this whole thing. I mean, the principal, she was cited that supposedly got killed. She was at the Boston Marathon, one of the victims. I mean, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, and they just pass it off on us. But the thing is they seem to be getting a little bit more worried that we push back. And this weekend, we had this tragedy South by Southwest with the guy in the car, and it was horrific. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah. I want to get you back on. We got to go to our next guest.
Right.
But thank you for coming on. And if you want to promote anything real quick.
Just Infowars.com and Dan Bidondi, Truth Radio.
Thank you, John. And God bless you. I miss you, brother. And we got to get together soon.
I'll see you soon. Take care.
God bless you, brother.
God bless you.
And that was Jon Bowne from Infowars.com. That segment went by quick. Wish I had more time for him. It just caught up on me. We even skipped the break. But what we got next, we got Dave Kopacz, expert in Gender 21, coming up next on Truth Radio Show with Dan Bidondi. We'll be right back. And welcome back. Great interview with Jon Bowne. Yeah, man. We even skipped the break, and the time just caught right up on me. And I'm like, my producer's like, we got the break. I'm like, oh man, so much information John has to talk about. I'm going to have him back on again soon. And I think next week or the week after, we're going to have Halbag on about the whole Sandy Hook thing. I mean, he was on Alex Jones today, yesterday, I believe, whatever, but great interview. And we're waiting for Dave Kopacz to call in. He's a president of the Massachusetts Republican Assembly, also a huge activist. And he's on the phone now, and expert in Agenda 21. And Mr. Kopacz, how you doing, sir?
Not too bad. Thanks a lot for having me on today, Dan.
Oh, it's a pleasure, brother. And, this guy is a huge activist. I mean, I've seen a lot of videos. I interviewed him on Infowars Nightly News as well. And if you want to break down, well, first of all, introduction to yourself to this new audience here and break down what the 21 is.
Yeah, sure. I guess first a little bit about me. I'm a native of Western Mass. I've lived here my whole life. Went to school, raised my family. I have 3 sons, Mark, David, and Luke. And I have a legitimate interest in the environment. I went on to college, got my degree in the environmental sciences, had my own consulting business for a while before the housing market tanked. And during much of that time, I did a lot of public service. I got involved in my town government and volunteered where I could. And at that capacity, I've been a conservation commissioner for my town for just a little over a decade now. And I currently serve as the chairman and the town's conservation agent. So I've had the opportunity to see some of these regional and non-domestic land use policies and zoning move in really to my entire region, to my neighborhood. And it took me a while. I'll have to admit that I was one of those very early on when I heard about Agenda 21. I was pretty quick to dismiss it. I kind of went through it very briefly and said that this is just impossible. It's preposterous. They'd never be able to do such a thing. And, of course, the other side's argument is always that this is a non-binding agreement. This is not a treaty or anything that's being forced on us. So, often people that would claim that this Agenda 21 is a very dangerous thing and could lead to global government and a loss of property rights are very quick to be portrayed as conspiracy theorists. And I did that very early on. I said, this is crazy. It couldn't possibly be. And it wasn't until I actually got to see that evolution in local policy, the loss of local control that was taking place and how it was being done. And I had to go back and re-reference that document. And sure enough, although it seems rather benign, and it is certainly a voluntary program, but the policies and the bylaws and the ordinances and the regional plans and the master plans that come out of it, they most certainly are binding. So the document itself is a set of standards that have been generated from we're all taught to consider this new public-private partnership thing. This is a buzzword that we're hearing a lot lately, and it's called that because, well, fascism just doesn't have as good of a ring to it, but that's pretty much what it is. It's that incestuous relationship between government and the private sector, and we see that starting to materialize right now in what is being called the green economy, this new green economy that we're hearing so much about. So, I watched it come in through regionalization, globalization. This is what globalization looks like in our communities when our regional planning commissions and our councils of government, which are by county boundaries, are instituting piecemeal the bits and pieces of Agenda 21 as they trickle down through the planning community. So the way, very briefly, just to explain how it went from an international non-binding agreement in 1992 to being well within most of our local government documents right now, it made that jump. As I said, in 92 is when it was signed in the soft spot by George Bush 1. And the very following year, 1993, Bill Clinton created by executive order the first President's Council on Sustainable Development. And that committee was tasked specifically with harmonizing and normalizing the policies of Agenda 21 with domestic law. And among those things that were done is there was about a $5 million grant that was given to the APA, the American Planning Association. And what they were to do, in part, was to create a mechanism so that every county in every state could have a regional form of government, a regional plan. And that's pretty much what they did. And, of course, the APA, they're the ones that create the textbooks for our planning colleges and planning curriculums, and they train
I've seen college
planners,
courses now on diversity and all that, and it's all UN propaganda crap that they're teaching our kids. I even been to some of these meetings, sustainability meetings, right in Elgin, Texas, and they have them everywhere. In local towns and cities, the local mayors will sponsor it, and it's like, and if you look at the maps they have, it's the same maps. It fits perfectly with the Agenda 21 maps, and they say, "Oh, we have nothing to do with the UN. We have nothing to do with Agenda 21." When it's the same program, the same whole system blueprint as the Agenda 21.
Yeah, and it's even more elusive than that, and it's worse than that. Many times, these consensus and visioning meetings that we hear advertised, and we hear the word stakeholder used. Now, stakeholder is just some special interest person who has been put in charge of your particular, say, your environmental values or your preservation values in your town. Well, you may have the director of a land trust who is that stakeholder to speak on your behalf. So we're getting people appointed to speak for us who have a vested interest in getting in the way of grant money. Is what we're seeing. So they're bankrupting the country, for one. I can tell you this is just straight economics 101 here when I tell you that when a person is separated from his right to own property, you're severing that ability to create and generate wealth. And as that shifts from private control to government control, the day is going to come very quickly where these preservation schemes lead to 51% of the land mass being in control of the federal government, and that will be bad news.
Oh yeah, they want to secure all natural preservation lands. Their oceanfront property will be a thing of the past. I mean, you couldn't even go to the ocean when they get that way. And they slowly build these metropolitan cities to push all the masses into these 12 by 12 apartments. I mean, it's unreal what these people plan to do. Oh, sell if you have hundreds of acres of land, you have a farm, sell it to us. It's part of saving the earth. All this propaganda they're pushing on people.
Sure. And you have, a mechanism for the urban areas. You have smart growth, and of course, you always get your transit corridors that go through first. And then properties are acquired along that corridor for mixed use and redevelopment, things like that. It comes in through your community development department, and they get all these grants to build smart growth facilities in these areas. And I'll tell you, if they promise a higher quality of life and more affordable housing to these people, and it is the exact opposite. You put that many people together, illness increases, insurance rates go up, their air quality. You put in a mixed-use area, you have business and industry mixed amongst residential living cubes. Those people are not going to have a better air quality than if they had the option of living in the countryside.
Oh, the crime rate! I mean, it will be staggering. All these stats will stagger right through the charts.
We're heading in the wrong direction, and the good news is that the answer is to retain local control. There's people in our towns and cities who are very capable of managing these issues on their own. They can manage their environmental issues and their development issues. We don't need the outside interference, because the moment you go to a regional plan, you no longer are doing each town, they can't do what's best for themselves. They're stuck in a regional apparatus, and you'll find so much of everything that you count on for the day-to-day business of your town is outsourced. Property taxes go through the roof as a view shed is stripped of its development rights, and then the poor suckers that are within sight of that mountain or that view shed wind up getting taxed into oblivion to pay for it, because they're now within a view shed. And of course, people can't afford their homes. The city forecloses on them. Redevelopment schemes come in, and all of a sudden, money that wasn't there to produce jobs for these people to prevent them from losing their house in the first place, all of a sudden miraculously appears. The Federal Reserve prints some more, ships it out, and into our towns it comes in the form of grants that are perfectly pigeonholed to satisfy Agenda 21 policy.
And of course they disguise. They won't come out and say, "Oh, we're the UN Agenda 21." Again, they'll come out. The small little towns, communities. It's a sustainability thing, meeting. And the thing is, I've been to the meetings, and the first one I was with Infowars in Elgin, Texas. We went to the meeting, and the thing is, we give the public a choice. We give them multiple choice questions, but the thing is, it's the Delphi technique. Every answer they have to answer is playing in their favor. So no matter what you answer, you're still playing in favor for what they're trying to push. And we informed one of the committee members, we got thrown out of there eventually, but one of the committee members, she was aware of the tyrannical UN and all that. And when I showed her the diversity maps and the UN maps and all that, all fitting together and all that, she bursted in tears, and she come out of the building, she's like hugging us. She goes, "Thank you." She goes, "I was ready to sell my farm to this for this operation, whatever." And she was part of the committee and all that. And she goes, "I am not taking no part of this no more." She was in tears, and she was like, apologizing that she took part in such evil crap. And the thing is, we woke up a lot of people, especially in Texas. I mean, when they found out that this ain't nothing to do with saving your land, but to take for the UN, I mean, they were pissed. But we got to go to a break, and if you want to stay right there, we'll be right back, Dave. And you're listening to Truth Radio with Dan Bidondi. We'll be right back. And welcome back to our final segment of the Truth Radio Show with Dan Bidondi. And we got Dave Kopacz. Again, he's GOP Republican Assembly leader, president of the GOP Massachusetts Assembly, and also he's a huge activist, expert in Agenda 21. And I want to plug real quick, I want people to go to InfoWarsStore.com and purchase Behind the Green Mask, the UN Agenda 21 by Rosa Curry. Again, Behind the Green Mask on InfoWarsStore.com. Great book. It's an easy read. It's a paperback and good price. And again, InfoWarsStore.com, Behind the Green Mask, and click on books. But Dave, and now you explained Agenda 21 and everything. Now, what's the further development that's going on now? What do the people need to be aware of?
Well, right now, it really kind of depends, on the state. In Massachusetts, for example, there's a huge push to get new bylaws passed, master plans reapproved, open space plans rewritten. And what's happening is the regional planning commissions are often coming into the towns and throwing a little money at them, saying, we'll help you write your plan if you like. And, of course, it comes out looking like their plan. And, the other thing in Massachusetts, and you're going to probably see similarities in other states, because this is really, they've redoubled their efforts. The Republican Party and even the Assembly, another national group, has finally come out and openly, unanimously supported a resolution opposing Agenda 21. So there's some legitimate pressure now for the first time ever. But another thing is state zoning reform. There's a bill right now, again in Massachusetts. There was one in the last, I think, 3 or 4 sessions. This same bill, they keep trying to change the name of it, and it's essentially a rewrite of our state zoning laws. And it is just littered with Agenda 21. So we have got to keep an eye that our local towns do not create contracts with these unelected bureaucracies. There's nothing that your town needs that it cannot provide for itself. So no contracts with regional planners of any kind, and be looking for these zoning bylaw changes and updates to your documents, master plans and open space plans. Open space is real big. These rail trails and nature corridors, visual view sheds. These are all new words that are attached to this environmental justice and social justice that seems to be permeating our political language at the moment.
And in your view, what's the how I say this? How long are they is it gonna take for them to push the way things are going now? In your estimate, how long before we see a global government under this Agenda 21 if people don't wake up?
We already are. It's too late. If you didn't want to see it, people should have fought this a long time ago. Yeah. If you go into your own town zoning or planning building department and ask them what codes you have to adhere to, and they'll probably put down a pair of big 3-ring binders of the International Building Code. So they kind of start with that. It's already there. Open space and historical commissions. These are things that are put in place to transfer private property to government property, to government control. And of course, using our own tax dollars through grants. It's horrendous. They're using our own, putting us in debt to essentially sell ourselves out. It's horrible.
And it's not a coincidence that in the Communist Manifesto, also the Illuminati's global plans is to abolish all private property, and then you're seeing that happening right now. And this Agenda 21, and it goes further, it goes into the health issues with the vaccinations and so on. It goes to private property, goes to every form of the way we live today. It goes to every form, this whole Agenda 21. And this could be found right on the UN's website, folks, Agenda 21. And also, John P. Holdren is Obama's science White House czar. He has a book called Eco-Science, which is, a further blueprint of Agenda 21. I mean, this stuff is so diabolical. I mean, everything that Dave's telling you, folks, Dave could be here for hours telling you this and not even scratch the surface of the whole diabolical plot of Agenda 21, which is a part of the eugenics program from the 1930s as well. And Dave, you have a radio show as well, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm transitioning red pill politics right now myself, but what I like to do is emphasize something that you just touched on, and just to give you an idea of the scope of this document. Now, Agenda 21 is 40 chapters, and what you see in Chapter 36-2 and 36-3 is Common Core. Everyone in this country right now is starting to wake up and fight against Common Core, and that just comes from that little segment that was the poison taproot of Common Core, was Chapter 36.2 and 36.3 of Agenda 21. So if someone wants, a little light reading tonight before their head hits the pillow, go look it up and deny me the similarities. It's there. Now they're going after your kid's mind. That should anger people. We used to have a country where men were men and would stand up and not allow anyone, especially government, to abuse a child. And now it's becoming institutionalized. Sickening.
Oh, it is very sickening. And I read an article earlier how in the UK, the doctors are trying to basically go after any parents, any people. I mean, if they go seek health issues, whatever, and if they're activists, they report them. I mean, that's going on here in the United States. I mean, they set up a whole spy grid. I mean, you got firefighters now in us, the federalized police departments now, local federalized police departments all spying on people, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, every aspect of our angle, they're spying on us, and they're trying to exterminate all us patriots. That's what's going on.
Sure. You mentioned the Communist Manifesto, the first plank being abolition of private property, and another one is a progressive income tax. And look at what we have with these smart meters. They're going to sell it to us as being this great way to save energy and be green. But in reality, they're able to meter every individual appliance you have. Those appliances can report back and create patterns of usages and draw assumptions just based on what you use in your house. They can shut them off if they want to. But what they'll do is they'll find out when you need certain power at a certain time, and they'll prorate it. And they'll tax the living daylights out of you. You have your progressive income tax. They'll charge the most for it when you need it the most. They'll do the same with water.
I have a friend in Florida. He's got a friend in that lives in a trailer park that's all has the smart meters, and even though you pay for it, if you exceed the allowable, let's just say electricity or gas or water, it cuts you off. Even though you pay for it, they cut you off, and they have like sustainability. In other words, you can't use X amount no matter what. And that's just, I mean, like some people, they're trying to develop, you have to use a thumbprint to flush the toilet, to open your window, and you get a certain amount of flushes a day. The shower, they're trying to limit the shower use now. I mean, they're attacking us, nanny-nizing us slowly but surely.
Sure. They can turn you off as a person almost. If you miss your water bill, look what they do to your driver's license now. If someone misses an alimony payment, what do? They take their driver's license and make it that much harder to earn money. But why would one affect the other? That's the problem with licenses and permits. Is you turn a right into a privilege when you apply for things or accept a license for something.
Absolutely, and they do that all the time. It's like, oh, it's a privilege. No, it's a right, not a privilege. And the thing is, bottom line is, folks, we're completely under attack. With the amendments, the Bill of Rights, and all that. And you got the United Nations, who's the backbone of behind all this Nazism, I call it. And I call it how it is. This is pure Nazism. And as Jon Bowne was talking about, this is part of Operation Paperclip. It's all conjoined into a global government, which they're pushing now. And people, I hope it's not too late. And like you said, this is already happening. And I hope it's not too late that we can reverse this effect.
It can be. It can be. But people do have to stand up here, not be afraid of it. It's not a conspiracy thing. It's a policy discussion. It is voluntary, and we just got to opt out of it. But it requires that people understand that it's there, what its motive is, and that you do, in fact, have the power to deal with these things. There's no environmental crisis or job crisis that can't be solved by a free market system and local control of these critical matters.
Absolutely. We're at the, I guess, minute and a half warning, and you want to promote your radio show, your websites, and where could people find your work and what you do?
Yeah, well, you can check me out, DaveKopacz.com. I've got some videos up on YouTube as well. I do a 2-hour presentation. Several of those have been uploaded. So if people really want a better understanding and be able to go into their town hall and tackle this stuff, go to DaveKopacz.com, fish around on the site there. I got a number of videos and things posted there for folks.
And thank you for your time, sir. And I definitely want to get you back on again in the future. And good luck with everything, and we'll be in touch. And I'll probably see you at the gun rallies and all that.
Oh, absolutely. Got a big rally on Flag Day. Hope to see you there.
I'll definitely be there, man. And God bless you, Dave.
All right. Thanks a lot, Dan. Thanks, everybody.
Yep, and that's DaveKopacz.com. Folks, check him out. I mean, I interviewed him on, if you type in, go to the Alex Jones channel, type in Agenda 21, Dan Bidondi. You'll see me interviewing Dave Kopacz via Skype on the Infowars Nightly News. That was a great interview. And again, Rosa Curie behind the Green Mask, InfoWarsStore.com by Rosa Curie, Behind the Green Mask, and check that book out. And folks, please go to my website, truthradio.show.com. I'm going to start amplifying this website because they attacked me again. They shut all my Facebooks down again. Not just one, all of them, all at once. They keep doing this. I lost my Infowars one because they keep attacking me, and they eventually just delete your account. The NSA, whoever's doing this, I mean, this is going to be from some federal agency because they attack all my Facebooks. I mean, I have to go and battle Facebook tonight to try to get these things back. So, again, if I don't come back on Facebook, I'm going to keep attacking these people. TruthRadioShow.com. That's one thing they cannot shut down. And also 990WBOB.com, where this is my platform for my show. They can't shut us down. And, folks, again, stand for the truth. Don't let nothing hold you back. Resistance is victory, folks. And again, we'll see you Tuesday. Everybody in Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, in Providence, Rhode Island, at the State House to stop these tyrannical gun bills. And remember, folks, our new time next week will be 7 p.m. Eastern, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, right here at 990WBOB.com. And this is Dan Bidondi for Truth Radio. Have a good weekend. God bless.